Oh, hello. Today we are doing my mid-month check-in, and I feel like it's gonna be kind of a weird check-in just because I've read 11 books, but several of them I can't tell you about because they're part of a secret TBR that's going up later this week. Then like things that I'm going to read, I also somewhat can't tell you fully about because they're part of other secret TBRs. So I thought we will talk about the things we can talk about. And then I also just thought maybe we could do a little chatty, hey, here's what's going on with me component at the end. So let's start with things that I'm going to talk about more at the end of the month that are not a secret. So you've already seen my hot takes vlog, my polarizing books vlog, and two of those, The Maidens and The Atlas Six, are going to be disappointments at the end of the month, but you can already see my thoughts in that vlog, more detailed. And then I did finish Fool's Errand, which took up a good chunk of my reading time so far this month, and really enjoyed it. This was an interesting experience, and I'll talk more about it at the end of the month, but it's just this series has been so hyped to me, the Tawny Man trilogy. So anyway, this was just an interesting reading experience. And then actually I'm looking and I definitely miscounted how many books I'd read. I've read 15 books, I guess. The only other hit that I talk about later at the end of the month that I can tell you about is The Half-Orcs Maiden Bride by Ruby Dixon. So everything else that I can talk to you about, we will talk about today. So there is a few other things I guess we can get into. I've really been in a mystery and sci-fi romance reading mood lately. And so like every time I'm trying to branch out, I don't know, like if I'm like, okay, I'm gonna read this fantasy book tonight, I then don't end up reading it. So I don't know. Anyway, I've been kind of between all the secrecy and just what I've been in the mood to read, it's just been sort of a weird little bit of reading. But anyway, let's get into a couple of things I can talk to you about. Oh gosh, sorry. I just got my hair cut and I feel like I don't, you know, when like, I mean, I like the haircut and I'm liking the curl, but you know how like your hair person doesn't do your hair the way that you would do it? I'm trying to like get it to look the way that I'm used to it. Okay, anyway, sorry, I'm gonna try to stop playing with my hair. Arcs that I can talk to you about. So I did read Bet on It by Jodie Slaughter. This is my first Jodie Slaughter, and I'd heard really good things about her stuff in the past. She is an indie romance writer, and I think that this is her major publishing debut, if I'm not mistaken. I really enjoyed this. Okay, so if you look at the cover and you look at the marketing around it, it very much suggests that it is like a rom-com, and I don't think that this should be thought of as a rom-com. I think it's a little heavier than that, but I actually really enjoyed the kind of romance it ended up being, which was, I think, one about, it's a lot about trauma and mental illness. They have our main characters, Aja and Walker, have a meet cute in a Piggly Wiggly when Aja is having a panic attack, and Walker identifies the beginning signs of it because that's something he also experiences, and he goes over to sort of like help her through that. And so it's a lot about PTSD and complex trauma responses and generalized anxiety disorders. Hello, I can relate to that. I mean, the rom-com aspect of it, or sort of like the small town romance aspect of it, is definitely, I think, present, but because what they're working through is some serious stuff, I think it ends up feeling a little heavier than a typical rom-com does. So I would give this between a 3.5 and a 4. I probably will land on a 4 just per my review policy. I like to try to err on the side of rounding up. But yeah, I felt like the character work in this was really nice. I don't know that the romance, you know, the book that this actually kind of reminds me of is The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. Not as intense as that one, but the same kind of critique or dissonance I have where I enjoyed the book as a book. I don't know that I loved it as a romance, but I also feel like this one is more solidly a romance to me than The Heart Principle was. And it's, you know, I am glad that this is a book that exists, and I really like Jodie Slaughter's actual writing. I've been wanting to try stuff from her, so I will definitely start looking into her backlist and trying to grab a few of those. But yeah, so I definitely enjoyed that one, even if I'm not necessarily sold on it as a rom-com. Another book I read in anticipation of Fool's Errand, because people told me in Atlanta that we had to read this first. And this is a novella in the realm of the Elderlings series called The Willful Princess and the Piebald Prince. And you do definitely need to read this before you get into the Tawny Man trilogy, if possible, obviously. There are some people who just sort of like pick and choose the realm of the Elderling they want to read, more power to them, but I would recommend you read this before reading that trilogy. And I now would suggest this as a really good taste of Hob. I would, if you are curious, if you are Hob curious, I think that this would be a great book to read. First of all, because it is a prequel. So this is technically 0.5 to the overall series. So, you know, just in terms of reading it chronologically, this definitely fits in. But also it is short, and I think it encapsulates a lot of what Hob does. It is deep character work, even with a short number of pages. It is utterly heartbreaking, you guys, when I tell you I wept at the end of this book. Also, I will tell you, big trigger warning on this for animal cruelty. That is something, because of the nature of the magic and the politics, it's a thing that happens. So if you can't deal with beloved animals dying, don't read this. Don't read any of the Fitz books for sure, and don't read this. But I think that this has a lot of really interesting things to say about, well, in general, this series I think is a lot about true parentage, blood versus who raises you. And then this also has interesting things to say about like prejudice and how prejudice starts. I don't know, this is just really, really good. And it also, I do think, is a really good way to kind of test the waters and get a sense of what Hobbs' writing is like, what these stories can be like, that they are very character driven. This one is more, because of kind of the nature of the project of it, probably is less character driven than her stuff is, but it is still pretty focused on the character stuff. So anyway, this was really good and is my new like suggestion to get a Hobbs sampler before you fully commit to the buffet. But yeah, this was great, and I totally agree and thank everyone who told me and Leanna we needed to make sure we read this before getting into Fool's Errand. And then another book I really enjoyed was Sorcery of Thorns. This is in that polarizing book vlog that I did, so I guess if you want my full thoughts, you can go there. But I really enjoyed this. This reminded me a lot of Howl's Moving Castle in a great way. I thought that the magic was really fun. I liked that it was sort of a little bit of a slow burn. I will tell you, it does take a while for things to get going. In the comments of that video, the number one thing I saw from people of like why they didn't necessarily like love this book was because they thought it was going to be a lot more in the magical library than it is. And I do think that's true. So just in terms of expectation setting, there's a lot with magical books in library at the beginning and at the end, but not as much in the middle. So just know that. But I just really love this. I thought it was funny and just exactly, I really like this as a standalone YA fantasy. Yeah, I was really into this. I really enjoyed it. And then I guess in terms of other things I've read a lot of random sci-fi romance. I've gotten back into the Honey Phillips abduction series. So I read 4 of those. I read, oh gosh, can I name them? Kate and the Kraken, Lily and the Lion, Mary and the Minotaur, and Nancy and the Naga. If we were gonna go by the Regina Abel naming conventions here, that would be I married an octopus man, I married a lion man, I married a bull man, and I married a snake man. So I really liked them. I thought they were fun. They have a little bit of a formula, but I think she does a good job of like mixing it up. I've read earlier ones in the series and didn't like them as much because I think that her writing has gotten significantly better in the last 2 or 3 years. Like things written from 2019 onwards are, I think, when she really hits her stride. So yeah, I thought these were all great and I've been really enjoying them. I also read Nanny for the Alien King by, I want to say, Athena Storm, which was okay. It was entertaining. It was what I was in the mood to read. It was fine. Nothing too memorable or to write home about. And I was at all the sci-fi romance, I think. So yeah, anyway, that's what I can tell you about what I have read. In terms of what I'm currently reading and I can tell you about. So I read and I think I'm not gonna, or I started, I should say. I'm not sure if I'm gonna continue this one just because I just don't know if I'm in a good headspace for it. Is The Cult of Trump by Stephen Hassan. We were doing this as a buddy read with some of us who were on a live show about cultish. And I just don't know if I can do it. I just don't know if I can do it. But something that I am in the middle of, and actually I'm vlogging, but I'll just tell you that I'm vlogging, is S by J.J. Abrams, because I saw someone mention that when I hauled this, that they've never seen a booktuber actually read this. They just haul it and then never read it. And I was like, haha, challenge. So this is pretty fun. I'm not very far in, but so far I'm enjoying the puzzly parts of it. Yeah. We'll see how it goes, but I'll do a full vlog on this. You'll see it in the next couple of weeks. Oh yeah, I started another sci-fi romance that I guess I'm in the middle of called Double Down by Susan Hayes, which is set in something called The Drift, which when I tell you that it is identical to Michelle Mills' books set in the Drift, they both, I don't know. I'll report back on this, or I'll put it on my Goodreads or something, but I need to check when each of these books were written, because it is so clear that one of them read this other book and was heavily inspired by each other. And I'm not mad, I'm enjoying both, but it's like cyborgs in like a multiple fated mate situation in a junkyard of space called the Drift. I just feel like there's a lot of overlap there. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna keep reading. I'm enjoying it, but that I thought was odd. And then in terms of what I am going to read next, I can't tell you a lot of it. So 2 things that I'm waiting on from the library on audio is the book Communa Read from Jess Owens and Angela from Literature Science Alliance, and they are both about Ukrainian history vis-a-vis Russia. One is The Red Famine by Anne Applebaum, and I forget what the other one is called, but I'm on hold for both of those at the library, so I'm waiting for those audiobooks to come in. 2 other book club things that I'm going to read. One is A Lady's Guide to Mischief and Mayhem by Amanda Collins. This is for the Blades and Bodice Ripper book club, which I believe is next Saturday on Amanda's channel. So this is a historical romance. I've read and enjoyed something from Amanda Collins before, so hopeful about this. And then Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. This is a work book club pick, and so yeah, I need to check and see when we're supposed to be meeting so that I know when I need to read this, but I think it's here in the next week or 2, so I will get to this one. Most of the other things I'm reading I can't tell you about. I can tell you that I'm hoping I'm gonna read The Word is Murder here in the next couple of weeks. This is on my 5-star prediction TBR, so hopefully I'll get to that. And then I'll just give you a sampler or a teaser for a different secret vlogging project I'm doing. Never Saw Me Coming by Vera Curlin and The Cartographers by Ping Shepard. These are both on there. This is I think more of a true whodunit set in a library. This one is more of a psychological thriller, I think, with a co-ed on a college campus. So can't tell you what that's for, but just a little taste of what is on that. And can I tell you anything else? Oh, you know what? Let me look and see what arcs I've got that I should be reading here shortly. I can tell you about those. So some of the arcs that I might get to, that I will get to here shortly. Breathless by Amy McCulloch. This is that one that is isolated close circle mystery set on a mountain climb, like on Everest or something. So I should be getting to that soon. It comes out at the beginning of May, so I will be getting to that shortly. There is a YA isolated close circle mystery that I'm interested in called Never Coming Home by Kate Williams, which is a bunch of social media influencers who are on some sort of island, and I can't remember if they know that they're gonna be there for some kind of event or not, but it ends up getting murdery, so I'm intrigued by that. I've got a copy of The It Girl by Ruth Ware, which is her thriller this summer, so I might get to that. And then, I got a finished arc of Pretty Dead Queens by my friend Alexa Dunn, so I'm excited to finally read this one. I was supposed to beta read for her, and then it was right when I was having surgery, and I totally flaked out, so sorry Alexa. So I'm finally gonna read the finished edition, and I'm excited to get to it. I have been talking to her throughout her process of writing it, so I'm excited to see the result. So that one is also on my list. Let's see, what other arcs? I guess other ones I could get to. One is Stay Awake by Meg Golden. I started it a couple weeks ago and then got distracted, but it is a thriller that has a really interesting premise. Basically, the girl wakes up in a cab and she tries to go home, but somebody else is living where she was living. Also, they gave away her cat, which really upset me. And all she sees is something, an address written on her, and it says stay awake. And she doesn't know what's going on. So that's an interesting premise. And then Quarter to Midnight by Karen Rose. That comes out in August, and I have an arc of that, and it's the next in her romantic suspense long-running series. I think this one is set in New Orleans. So those are some arcs that are on my radar. And then just general life update. I am feeling a lot better these days than I was. I think that I'm about to get my medicine slightly adjusted, which I am hoping will mean that I will have more energy. I did go for my chemo yesterday and they had to go into my wrist and it hurt really bad, but we got some blood taken at that and we will see kind of what that is looking like in terms of my levels. And then what else? Oh, speaking of feeling better, I have booked my first trip in, have been more than 2.5 years since I literally have left Nashville. I have also never left the cats and I'm feeling really anxious about it, but I am going to go to the UK this summer. I'm going there because it's my first, we had talked about going somewhere else in Europe, but we decided to go there. Me and my best friend are going. It's gonna be my 35th birthday and our birthdays are right next to each other. So this is gonna be a celebration trip for us. And we decided to go there because we both know it pretty well, and I was feeling, I've never traveled with some of the things I need to deal with my autoimmune disease. So I was like, I feel like going to some new places that I haven't been in a country that I know pretty well is probably a good strategy for my first like international outing since all of this has happened. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited. I'm definitely got some vlogging projects that I've got on the docket for that. I have never been to Scotland before. Basically, we're gonna mostly be in Wales and Scotland, which I've not been to either of those before, so I'm really excited. I've got some vlogging things I'm thinking about doing, so I'm really excited for that. And work is still crazy, but there's like a path to it being less crazy, so that's good. We're like returning to office, but I think I've worked out that I'm not gonna have to do that for the most part. Like I'll probably go in the morning 1 or 2 days a week, but that's about it. So I'm also feeling good that I know I'm gonna get to work from home for the most part still. Just with my stuff with my autoimmune disease, it's just honestly a lot easier to be at home for some of that. So yeah, I mean, we'll see how that, I say that, we'll see how that works when I start traveling. That's part of why I'm nervous. I don't know how I'm gonna manage that. I'm gonna have to do a lot of planning, but we'll figure it out. We will make it work. So anyway, I just thought, since I didn't have as many books to tell you about, might be a good little just chatty check-in. I know that I have a lot of secret TBRs happening, but I'm actually really enjoying doing that. It's giving me a lot of like renewed energy for the channel. So I think you guys are pretty much enjoying those as well. And as long as I enjoy doing them, I just will keep at it. So I do feel like I've definitely kind of, we talked about this last summer, but I feel like I have successfully changed directions a little bit with the channel over the last 6-ish months. And you guys have been really supportive of that. And I just appreciate it. Honestly, I appreciate that you guys are still interested and that you guys always have good feedback and ideas. And I have enjoyed moving towards being a lot more like vlogging / like challenge, like reading challenge stuff and commentary based. Like those are kind of the project videos that give me a lot of energy that I really enjoy doing. And I do still really like the sort of like core booktube content. Like I enjoy these check-ins, I enjoy hauling and unhauling and doing some like comparisons and overall check-in, like here's what I'm reading stuff. I still enjoy that, but I like sort of my in-between videos not being that, not being sort of like lists and stuff. I like moving more towards some meatier content, some things that are a little harder to make. That has been a nice creative challenge for me. So I appreciate you guys going along for the ride. And yeah, I think that will do it for me for today. So let me know what you thought about any of the books that I talked about. Let me know what you're reading, how your reading is going for the month of April. And I think that will do it for me. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, follow me on the social medias if you are so inclined. I have all that information listed in the description box below, and I think that will do it. I hope you're having an absolutely lovely day today, and I will just talk to you soon. Bye!